Glad to have you with us here on another edition of the Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Coming up on today's show, I am going to give you my official prediction for the Baltimore Ravens 53-man roster. What will it look like when the season begins for the Ravens in 2023? I'll tell you what I got lined up based on the way the roster is right now. We're not going to do any additions or trades, free agent signings, anything like that. We'll just narrow the roster as is down to 53, and I'll tell you who I think ultimately ends up on the roster when it's all said and done. Before we get to that, though, what's the Ravens' record going to be in 2023? It's been an exciting offseason, and we already know that the Ravens have their quarterback locked up for the long term in Lamar Jackson. OBJ's in town, Zay Flowers, among others here. What are your expectations for the Ravens this year? Let us know in the comment section below of how many wins you think the Ravens get this season. Let's start with the quarterback position. I would expect that the Ravens on the active roster go with two quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson and Tyler Huntley. Now, there have been rumblings that the Ravens potentially could make a move for another backup instead of Huntley, but at this time being, I think it's pretty simple. It would be Jackson and Huntley as the roster stands right now to be your two quarterbacks going forward as that goes. So no surprise with those two where things are at right now. The backfield, I think that you are going to go with some very familiar names. J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, and credit to Justice Hill for a second. This is a guy that I think has been talked about as a cut candidate in some way, shape, or form for the last couple of seasons, and he's got the last laugh. Still here, still standing. Justice Hill will make the 53-man roster. And can't forget about Big Pat as well. One of the best fullbacks in the entire NFL. I think you're looking at this backfield being better than what people are giving it credit for. J.K. Dobbins, I thought, was really good at the end of 2022 as well, after he tightened up things, from the injuries that he suffered there. The wide receiver room is going to look a lot different this year for the Ravens than what we've seen previously. And we've heard from Todd Monken say that what he wants to do with this offense as offensive coordinator is he wants Lamar to run less, keep him in the pocket more, and throw the football down the field more. Well, you got to have the receivers to be able to do that. And the Ravens made some big changes here. OBJ, I think, is going to be spectacular. It's going to be great to have him around. He's not cheap either. Rashod Bateman comes back healthy from injury. I expect a breakout season from Rashod Bateman, especially coming back from all the time that he's missed over the last couple of seasons. Zay Flowers, as a rookie, one of the best receivers in this past draft class. And then you still add in guys like Nelson Agholor and Devin Duvernay, Tylan Wallace and company here. Watch out. I think this wide receiver room is going to be very solid for the Ravens come 2023. Let's see what these guys can do, and this offense take a huge step up. Remember, when Lamar had his MVP season, he led the NFL in touchdown passes. And so this whole idea, this whole myth out there that Lamar can't throw the football for a lot of touchdowns is just simply not true. We've seen him be successful passing the football, and I think these receivers, along with the tight end room, are certainly going to help. Name a player the Ravens should cut. Who is somebody that Baltimore should move on from that won't make the 53-man roster? Tell me what you think in the comments section. Name a player you think the Baltimore Ravens should move on from in some way, shape, or form. Give me one name. Be that harsh critic. It's okay. Tell me somebody that they should cut and let me know. Let's move ahead to the offensive line now. That's where we find Ronnie Stanley, Ben Cleveland. A lot of high expectations for Ben Cleveland this year, filling one of those starting guard spots. Tyler Linderbaum, year 2. I thought that he showed some very good flashes at that center position last year. Kev, Morgan, those guys, let's see what they can put together as well. I think the offensive line is going to be pretty solid as far as I'm concerned. Also, Patrick, John Simpson, these guys should be a decent group, then I think better than what some people are expecting as far as this offensive line goes. The tight end room is arguably the best in the entire National Football League. Mark Andrews is one of the top 2 tight ends in the league, right behind and Travis Kelce, as far as I'm concerned. I think it's Kelce, and then Mark Andrews. I think he's right up there with, among the elites with George Kittle and with Darren Waller and those guys. Mark Andrews is in that conversation. And Mark Andrews, there's no reason why he can't have a big year and have a great career going down as one of the all-time greats as far as I'm concerned at the tight end position. Isaiah Likely had some moments. If you go back to that Bucs game in particular, Isaiah Likely showed that he can be a dynamic playmaker, that he is a very good receiving tight end. We didn't see a whole lot of Charlie Kolar last year, dealt with a sports hernia injury and missed much of last season. But coming out, I was higher on Charlie Kolar than I was on Isaiah Likely. Charlie Kolar dominated the Big 12 Conference at Iowa State, a product out of Norman, Oklahoma. Charlie Kolar reminded me in college of Mark Andrews, and I think you're going to see a fantastic season out of Charlie Kolar, and we might see this offense at times using 2 or 3 tight ends because they can. All 3 of these guys are very good receivers as far as that goes. So there's the offense. Let's move ahead to the defense now. And I don't see any major surprises when it comes to the guys that we expect to make the roster from the defensive line. I think Travis Jones should see some increased playing time. Edge rusher-wise, this is what we have right now, but it wouldn't surprise me when you look at the edge rushers if beyond Odafe Oweh and David Ojabo and others, if we see the Ravens add another edge rusher at some point. And you look at the free agent market right now, there's plenty of good edge rushers out there. Robinson, of course, they picked up in this draft. Hayes, others here. It feels like that this is still an area of need. It's not a bad position group for Baltimore, but it could be better. It could be improved. Watch out to see what the Ravens do to potentially go get another edge rusher. But if the season started today, I think it'd be these guys right here holding things down as far as the edge rusher spots go. Name a player the Ravens should keep. We asked you earlier to name a player they should cut. Now who's a player they should hang on to? And don't be obvious with me and say, well, Lamar Jackson or Odell Beckham or Mark Andrews, Roquan Smith. Give me a player that's a borderline roster cut that's on the verge one way or the other of making the 53-man or falling on the other side of it. Who is a player the Ravens should keep? Tell me in the comment section below who comes to mind. Folks, we're talking about the Ravens on this channel each and every day as we have the latest news and rumors. We're also talking about trades and free agency. We're covering mini camps, OTAs, training camp, and more here on the channel. We tell you everything you need to know about your Baltimore Ravens. This is the channel for the diehard Ravens fan. If you want daily coverage, subscribe now for free. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. YouTube.com/RavensTV to subscribe for free today. So the Ravens have said that they feel that Patrick Queen, a deal will be done to bring him back on a long-term deal. So with that, him with Roquan Smith together, I thought Patrick Queen was a lot better in the second half of the season than he played well with Roquan Smith. Let's see what those two can do together. Trenton Simpson should compete for playing time right away, the rookie out of Clemson. A very good linebacker room as far as I'm concerned with Malik Harrison, Kristian Welch, Delshon Phillips and company. Watch out. That linebacker room is going to be lethal. At corner, some changes in 2023 as you bring in Marlon Humphrey, but I'm very excited about Rock Ya-Sin, of what he's going to bring to this Baltimore Ravens defense. I think he's an upgrade from Marcus Peters personally, and you have some depth there. Brandon Stephens should be more than capable of filling that number 3 corner role just fine. Watch out for this corner room. This secondary, when you look at the safeties as well, you add in Kyle Hamilton, Marcus Williams and company, you're looking at this secondary, I think, looking like one of the best secondary groups in all of the NFL with the corners and the dynamic duo of Kyle Hamilton and Marcus Williams. I think Kyle Hamilton is due to be a breakout performer in 2023. I think you're going to be talking about him potentially as a Pro Bowl or All-Pro candidate when it's all said and done. Watch out. This secondary is something else. Special teams going to be outstanding per usual. Justin Tucker, of course, the best kicker in the NFL, along with Jordan Stout and Nick Moore. It's a good roster, up and down, when you look at it for this Baltimore Ravens team. expectations should be high in Baltimore here this upcoming season. So I want to ask you guys, how would you grade this roster? I give credit to Eric DeCosta and John Harbaugh for the job that they did to assemble this thing and put this team in good shape in 2023. I think they're a lot better off than they were last season. They weren't bad last season either. How would you grade the roster for me? Let me know in the comment section, ABCDRF, what you think of this roster. Hit me up on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Tyler Jones Live. You can find me there. I'll see you next time here on the Ravens Rundown.